FA Cup final. And Hatchin! What a magnificent goal!
Good evening and welcome to All Things Sky Blue match preview against Preston on Saturday at the CBS Arena. Before I bring my guests on, just remember where you can find us. We are available on all platforms scrolling down the bottom, Twitter or X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We are available on YouTube as well, where this is going to go out. So please go and like and subscribe to us if you like what we do. We're also available on podcasts, so go and rate us 5 stars. We're available on Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, and wherever else that you get your podcasts from. This season, again, we're gladly sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications. His logo's in the corner. He can do your steel fabrication work up and down the country, but mainly in the Coventry and Warwickshire area. We're also partnered with the Anecdote Sports Bar at the CBS Arena and the Sky Blue Tavern, where I am tonight, and I do most of my recordings from as well. And we're also this half season, if you like, we're in association with Coventry Ladies. So look out for bits and pieces that we'll be doing with them, hopefully shortly coming up as well. So before I bring the Preston podcast in, let's bring Mark Smith in, my normal co-host. How are you, Mark?
Good evening, Stuart. Yeah, good evening, Ron. Yep, good. Thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Before we bring Ollie in, obviously last Saturday we had a very, very, whether it's luck or not, I don't know, but we beat Sheffield Wednesday 2-1 at Hillsborough. Not the prettiest of games. We were under the cosh for most of it. Ellis Sims, for me, probably man of the match, scoring the 2 goals. He never gave up, so that's a real positive for him. How did you think the game went, and how do you think that things are going to change against Preston, if anything is going to change?
Yeah, I thought we had to ride a massive storm, if I have to be honest. I thought first half, Sheffield Wednesday had a lot of the game and we had to defend for our lives, really. I think Dovan made some good saves. I thought we defended pretty well in that sort of final third bit, but we were a little bit vulnerable on the flanks. Then we scored a really good goal, a really good cross from Jack Rodoni, and Ellis Sims just guides it into the far corner. Really good header. And he's starting to really flourish now. And then obviously we had that moment towards the end of the first half where the referee has given a foul on the goalkeeper when Ellis Sims, to me, looked like he won the ball fair and square, and it should have been given as a goal for 2-0. And, you know, that was a bit of a disappointing decision. But having said that, I thought the referee for the rest of the game was good. You know, Sheffield Wednesday equalised. I think we got caught a bit. I thought Milan was a little bit asleep, to be honest with you. Barry Bannon passed it to the on-running attacking defender, puts it across, and Dovan sort of saves it, but then it comes off Latti and goes straight in. And I was kind of got to the stage, I thought, well, I'll take a point, but then to score right at the end. And I think Ellis Sims does deserve a lot of credit for the goal, really, because, yes, it was a long ball from Milan, and you could say Sims could have had the attitude of, well, it was a really bad pass, I'm just going to give it up. But he didn't. He kept running. The goalkeeper made a mistake. The rest is history. So, all in all, really, really good win, a massive win against a team that are around us in the league. And, you know, we're in a good position now. But a lot of work to go yet. 13 games to go this season. Got Preston, obviously, this weekend. And, you know, looking at the guide, I mean, they're 15th in the league. But there's only 5 points separating us and them. So it's a very tight and congested championship. So every game's really important now. I feel we need probably another 8 wins to get us over 70 points. I think that gets us in the playoffs. So, you know, this is a game we've got to target a win. Got to forget about the history of Preston. Yes, we all know it's not. We don't have a good record against them. But
I can see Ollie smiling behind the scenes there.
Yeah. I'd be smiling like a Cheshire cat as well. But, you know, we've got to treat it as another game, and, you know, hopefully under Frank Lampard we'll get that win.
Yeah, obviously, you mentioned about beating teams around us. At the moment, that's what we're doing. We've beat Blackburn away, we've beat Bristol City. As you mentioned, obviously Saturday against Sheffield Wednesday, we scored a late goal against QPR at the CBS Arena as well, who are all in and around us. And, you mentioned about Preston being a bogey side, which they are, but so was Swansea. And Lampard has changed that narrative and we won. So hopefully he can change that narrative again. So on that, let's bring Ollie in. Good evening, Ollie. How are you?
Evening, Mark. All good, thank you. How are yourselves?
Yeah, not too bad. Happy at the minute because we're sitting 7th and only a point off the playoffs. So, yeah, it's going well. Before we get into it, Ollie, just remind us, where we can find you and what you guys do.
Yeah, so it's the Butt Pie Podcast on Spotify and all good reputable streaming sites. And you'll find us on X or Twitter under the same handle for the Butt Pie Pod. Weird name, obviously, but it is a Preston North End related podcast.
That's fine, not a problem. So, obviously, you guys played yesterday. You got a 1-1 draw against Millwall at your place. So you haven't got much time to recover. How do you think you're going to fare? Obviously, we'll go into predictions later, but how do you think we're going to fare? How is Paul Heckinbottom going about things? Do you see massive changes or pretty much Preston as is Preston against Millwall yesterday?
To be fair, going into the Millwall game, I was anticipating him to probably stick with the same type of players that he did against Burnley at the weekend. With some of our main threats, as Mas Frokjar, Militant Osmaic, but he actually started them both on the bench. I'm not too sure if it's the way that he wanted to match up against Millwall, or it was just a matter of resting players because of timescales, like we mentioned. Because we've had a lot of Saturday, Tuesday at the moment, and obviously now coming in against Coventry. Yeah, we'll see how we fare, actually. I'm glad Mads actually got a rest because he's one of our most influential players. I remember last season at your place, Mas Frokjar was probably the most instrumental Preston North End player. So he only played 20 minutes yesterday, so he's going to be fit and ready to go come Saturday. So, yeah, I'm optimistic going into the game. I never like predicting a North End win because that always comes back and shoots me in the foot. But, yeah, we always have a good performance against Coventry. I think we just recorded our previous podcast just then, and Jack mentioned to me that the last Coventry win was in the Johnson's Paint Trophy back in 2013.
Yeah.
And he said, does that really count? But, yeah, we'll give it to you.
Well, we've got to go further back if it's a league win as well. We've got to go back like 18 years, and it's utter ridiculous. I
was going to say, so the last time we beat Preston, we won a trophy. So the omens are we beat Preston when we could win another trophy, like the playoff final.
Playoff final trophy.
It's a real trophy, not the paint pot trophy. I was going to go to my DIY store and get that. So yeah.
Yeah. So how's Paul Heckinbottom going about things? Because obviously, we played each other, very early on in the season. Yeah. And has things changed for you? Has he changed things up? Or are we going to see the same Preston that we saw in the first game?
Yeah, I feel like he tried to implement a lot of his style, obviously, in the first fixture. And obviously, it's still a bit brand new to the side when we came in. So I think it was a bit rough around the edges. But he's implemented this style of, wanting to probably be a bit more possession-based rather than, actually trying to hit them on the counter. Now, as seen with Millwall as well, we were playing out from the back. Millwall noticed that and played a bit of a low block. Now, we haven't really gauged that ability where we're more possession-based. Mm-hmm. And I certainly don't expect us to come to Coventry and beat you, especially in the possession area. So he's implementing more of a style, wanting to play out from the back, which is a bit heart-wrenching watching and giving a bit of a palpitations watching some of our centre-halves try and play out from the back. But he's implemented it, wants us to play on that foot, and we have conceded goals from it. So he's implemented his style. He's brought back a good culture. He brought back positivity between the fans and the players, which I feel like North End are a massive confidence club, and they strive a lot off fans and the backing of fans. And we see that with our record at Deepdale. We're unbeaten since November, and only recently, since obviously the fans have connected with the players again, we've started picking up results on the road. So we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be a really tough game, obviously, because Lampard's got the confidence back for Coventry. But I think you've got two teams full of confidence going up against each other at the moment, and it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Mark, in January, we bought Matt Grimes in. Matt Grimes was brought in for this type of game, surely, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we miss a midfielder that just gives you a bit of calmness and possession. Someone that can act as a buffer between the defence and the attack. Almost a Liam Kelly-like sort of replacement signing. I thought in his brief cameo appearance against Leeds, against obviously the best side in the division, he was fantastic. So, when as I said previously, when Swansea fans are upset to see him go, that's always a good sign from us that we've got a good player on our hands. So he's done pretty well. I wouldn't say he's set the world on fire yet, but what he's done is he's very good possession. He brings other players into the game. I think he's a really, really good signing. So I'm really happy that we've got him in our team, because I remember the times where we play against Swansea and they're like, oh no, Grimes' the one we've got to watch out for, is what I'd be thinking. So I'm very happy he's in our team and not playing against us. So yeah, overall I'm really happy with him.
Yeah, obviously he for somebody literally to play 1.5 games and he's on set pieces pretty much already in terms of free kicks. I think that says something about him as well, doesn't it? And we've got Mason Clark coming back. Hadji Wright is coming back slowly. I think Preston's a little bit too early for Hadji Wright. There's rumblings that Sheaf might be on the bench as well. So things are starting to turn for us in terms of getting players back as well, aren't they, Mark?
They are, and in any good team, you need that competition. If you want to be, looking at potentially playing Premier League football or getting the playoffs in the immediate term, then you need that competition, because it raises the standards of the football club. So it's a really good thing. I think Lampard has injected a new lease of life to a lot of these players. I mean, Ephraim Mason-Clark is a prime example of that. He didn't really get much for looking under Robbins or got played in the wrong position. And since Lampard's come in, has played in wide left, and he's been, obviously the injuries accepted, he's been one of our best players. So that's an example of that. And I just think it's a fresh voice, new ideas, and players have bought into that, and the results speak for themselves. We've been really good. We've had a couple of defeats like any other team do, but since losing to Norwich, I think it was back in January, we've had, I think it's 6 wins from 7 matches, and I think that's the least in the league we've only lost to. So it's really encouraging to see. I just wished we were playing that way at the start of the season, because if we were, we would be would be challenging certainly well inside the playoffs. So, but it is what it is. It's a new game. Look forward to playing Preston. We know it's going to be a hard game, because as Ollie said, they've had some really good results on the road. I mean, they beat Norwich, for example. So they're not going to be pushovers. And, I think this is what makes the Championship a really interesting league, is there's not many points that separates, say, 6th position from, say, 13th, 14th, or even Preston 15th.
No,
there's only, 6 points. So Preston are not out of the playoffs either. Just because they're 15th doesn't mean to say they're not out of it. They are still. I think he's good. I'm probably. I'll just give me that look to say that's not the case. But mathematically, they're still in it, aren't they? You can't rule them out.
No, they are. And obviously, we've mentioned players that are coming back for us. I went through the players that are out for Preston, Ollie. Your main one is obviously Holmes, that's out for the season, I believe. You've got Watmore, Story, Whiteman, and McCann. Any of them likely to be back, or are they kind of out for this game and might be coming back for the future? Or
so everyone you mentioned there, bar McCann, which was a suspension. McCann played yesterday against Millwall, so that was his suspension. But everyone you mentioned there, Holmes obviously with the tackle against Norwich season. That's probably his last game for Preston North End is Dwayne Holmes because he's not getting his contract extension. So, at the moment, I say. Ben Whiteman, obviously the club captain, is out. Freak incident. I think he stepped on a sprinkler while he was watering his garden and pulled his ACL or something.
Oh my God.
Jack Watmore and Jordan Story going to be out, but McCann will be back. So we've got a fairly fit squad at the moment. Obviously, I'm guessing you've obviously seen social media recently in regards to what happened at the Burnley game in Milton Osmaic. Obviously, there's an investigation ongoing, so we don't know what's going to happen with that. Obviously, he did play in the investigation up until the biting incident, until he actually got given it. And obviously, yesterday he did play 45 minutes off the bench, so I'd expect him to be available. Whether or not he starts is a different thing because obviously Reece scored a fantastic goal yesterday against Millwall.
I was going to mention him,
But I'd expect North End to be fairly fit going into this game. Obviously, we've brought in Ryan Porteous on loan as a bit of a emergency signing to stop Story and Watmore, who then obviously got injured with Porteous coming in. And he's done a great job. So everyone you mentioned there, bar McCann, will be out, and then the rest will be fit, I'd suspect.
Okay. Obviously, you mentioned Ryan Porteous there. Lewis Gibson and is it Jalon? I can't pronounce it. So Mahala.
Yeah, Magoma. Yeah,
Magoma. Sorry. Are they likely to play or?
Well, actually, Magoma's obviously coming on loan, and he did okay. He did fantastically well against Watford, but he seems a bit. Obviously, it's his first loan to the Championship level, so he seems a bit. Probably not ready as of yet. Okay. I think if he was to stay next season would be his proper season. I'd suspect potentially you see Robbie Brady playing there, coming into this. But as you mentioned there, Lewis Gibson signed from Plymouth Argyle. What a player! You know when you just receive a player and you think, 24, strong as an ox, brilliant with his feet, left-footed. I can't see him playing for North End past next summer. He's going to be one of those where you bring in a player and, to be fair, he's probably low-end Premier League level, real player. And he's going to be good, actually, to see the way we set up, whether Lewis Gibson plays on the left or whether he plays central in the back three. We saw it different. Burnley, he played central, and then obviously Liam Lindsay came in to, I think, to help with the aerial threat of Millwall. But Liam Gibson's superb. Proper Rolls Royce of a centre half, and it's going to be a real good matchup, him against Sims.
Excellent, nice. So, Mark, any questions for Ollie at the minute?
I was just going to ask Ollie about formation-wise, because he tends to play, what I write and say, it's like a 3-4-2-1 formation.
Yeah.
Would he change it tactically for an away game, or do you think he'll shape?
I think he'll probably stick to that. I think it's probably North End's best way of playing, and obviously you can fluctuate between the 3 at the back and then the 5 at the back with the wing backs in terms of, playing away from home. We have got obviously the 2 main sitting in midfield. It's probably a bit more of a 5-2-2-1 when we're away from home. And we normally have 2 sitting 6s who can, get up and down when required. But it's usually the front 3 that are, given line to roam, so to speak. I think we go pretty much low block and hit you on the counter in away games. As you may have seen against Watford, they had like 70% possession. We stopped them on 2 counter attacks and scored. So I suspect we'll match up like that, about a 5-2-2-1, or if the wing backs want to push up, probably a 3-4-2-1.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, fair enough. Lovely. So, what threats do you see from us then, Ollie? Do you watch much of any other teams or?
Yeah, well, you've mentioned 2 of them actually. Obviously, Mason Clark, he looks a real live wire, obviously, under Lampard. I'm not too sure if he said that he's fit or anything for
He's
this.
just coming back.
Just coming back.
Coming back.
And then, obviously, saw the Sheffield Wednesday result, and Elliot Sims looks bang up for it. Proper workhorse performance. And to be fair, rightly deserved both goals. Probably another that was wrongfully disallowed. So, you've got a banging form striker. He's got to be the main man to look towards, and I fully expect he may get another come Saturday.
Okay, fair enough. Obviously, for me, yes, Ellis Sims is due his credit, but somebody else, Mark, that's due credit is Jack Redoni, because at the minute he's the only one really that's setting anybody up. He's on 10 assists in the league already this season. He's scored 3 goals. If you look at how many he's actually created, I think he's created like 60-something chances, and he's only got 10 assists. So he should be getting a lot more. How's Redoni done for you? Because for me, he's just been brilliant.
Yeah, I concur with that. I think if the season's end now, I'd say he's our player of the season. I think he's been absolutely superb. As you say, 10 assists. If I was being nitpicky, maybe he could give a few more goals, but obviously there's still 13 games to go, so you might hopefully get a few more goals. But he's been brilliant signing. I know we spent a little bit of money. I think it's about £4 to £5 million, I think, from Huddersfield. But he's been really, really good for us. Definitely been our best outfield player this season. And he's got his delivery is really good. His crossing is good. Obviously, as I said earlier, the Sheffield Wednesday goal, that cross for Sims' header was sublime. It was the pace across that really made that goal. Good on set pieces. A really, really solid player for us. So I think that was the affairs to Dean Austin. I've been a bit critical of some of the signings, but he got that one spot on. That was a tremendous signing. Yeah,
totally agree. Ollie, where do you see this game being won and lost on Saturday?
I always seem to say it's going to be a midfield battle. If you're able to overrun the middle of the park, as you mentioned, you've got Redoni, you've said his name, the Grimes.
Yeah.
You've got 2 of them players of high-end quality, and North End also probably have the 2 of Ali McCann, who's been our player of the season, a right workhorse in the middle of the park, and Stefan Fordarson now from Denmark, who's for the past couple of games really stepped up to the mark with his physicality and dropping into a number 6. So that's going to be the main battle. Whoever comes out of that's probably going to be on the right end of the result, or probably my luck in saying that it's probably going to be a nice 1-1 draw. But it's going to be a real battle in the middle of the park, and I feel like whoever's midfield comes out on top will definitely be the one that wins.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Mark, can I get a prediction out of you?
I'm dangerously going to go for a Coventry win.
Wow.
Dangerously.
Mr. Fence comes out.
Yeah. I'm probably going to lose now. I've said all that. I'm going to say we're going to sneak it 2-1. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be a very tight game. In all honesty, although we've been in good form, a lot of them games have been very tight. Let's be honest. I wouldn't say we've been absolutely all over the opposition, and there's no easy game in the Championship. But just feel with the momentum going our side, I have to be positive and say we're going to win 2-1.
Okay, fair enough. Ollie?
I'm going to stick with a 1-1, which I'd take, to be fair. It's going to be a real tight game, like Mark says, and hopefully if anyone's going to nick it, it's going to be us, but I'll stick with a 1-1.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to go for a sneaky 1-0. We've been scoring late goals of late, I suppose. 94th minute against Sheffield Wednesday, 95th minute against QPR. Dovin is playing absolutely brilliant in goal. He's keeping us in games. And I just feel that this season, we've got the hoodoo over Swansea gone. We're going to get the hoodoo over Preston gone as well. So I'm going to go for a sneaky 1-0 win. for us. I'm not going to name a scorer because I don't care who scores as long as we get the win. Right, any other questions for Ollie, Mark?
No, all good.
Okay, fantastic. Any questions for us, Ollie?
Oh, okay. Now, I think I mentioned last time, if I was to sign a player from you, it would be Binks.
You did say that, yeah.
How's your? I mean, obviously, Robbins was more possession based. Now, how much has Lampard kind of changed that? Is it still heavily playing out from the back? Is it still trying to there? Because I know Robbins was massive on playing out from the back, and I feel like that's where we kind of nipped you where we was at Coventry last season in being able to press high up and try and nab it from the back line. Is that kind of the same under Lampard in your eyes?
Yeah, exactly the same. It hasn't really changed much. I suppose what's changed is how we're defending. Because when we were playing you, especially, Mark might disagree with this, but when we played you the first time, every shot that we faced was going in. At the minute, and for since Lampard's come in, he's got us defending a little bit more rigid and a little bit better, and we're blocking more shots. The goalkeeper is full of confidence and is saving more shots, which is helping the defence out as well. Would you agree with that, Mark?
Pretty much, yeah. I think we've got a goalkeeper who's saved. As you say, Stuart, is saving a lot more. We're not conceding many goals. We tend to push up a bit more, play for the offside, and I think. I'm just trying to think. Did he play? Because Robbie's playing sort of more forward at the back. He kind of mixed and matched his formation. I think.
He did.
With Lampard, we've got. Generally play 3-5-2, but sometimes he will change a few tweaks depending on the situation of the game. I think Lampard's good because I feel like he can judge the temperature of the game quite well and make appropriate changes. I thought his best game as manager was against Blackburn away, where
definitely 100%.
I think we were 2-0 up, and although we were 2-0 up, Blackburn were in control of the game, but he made a couple of substitutions. I think he brought in Josh Eccles as one of them. He played the extra man in midfield, and that really knocked the stuffing out of them. It stifles Blackburn and frustrated them. And I thought, you know what, that's good management there, because he's made a tactical tweak to really nullify their threat. And I think that's one of the good things about Lampard is he knows when to make the right changes. And also, I think he's just an articulate man. He listens to him speak. He knows what he's talking about. I listened to him in the Euros coverage as a pundit, I think, on BBC. And the guy knows the game. He's got the respect of. Obviously, he has a fantastic playing career, and I think players already will warm to him. So, yeah, been very happy with Frank Lampard, and I think you get a bit of a lazy stereotype of English managers not being a bit mediocre, like obviously what happened with Rooney and Gerrard and all that. But he's been fantastic for us. I think he's been a brilliant appointment by Ducking.
Yeah, definitely. But we are still a little bit loose in the back, too much for me. If we can brush up on that, then I think it will be a real game. But I think because of our dodginess at the back and trying to play out too much, we can get caught.
Yeah, I think that's something we need to improve on. I think if we could get to the next level, we've got to be better playing at the back, because in the games we have lost, like the Leeds and the Ipswich games, we've lost because teams have pressed us quite high up the pitch, and we make a mistake. We give the ball away, 2 passes later it's in the back of the net, and that's something we've got to be a bit more ruthless on. I thought we were pretty good against Sheffield Wednesday in that regard, because Wednesday are again another high pressing side. So, we've got to be ready for that. There's no, we spend all week on the training ground playing against opposition, knowing how they're going to set up. So, got no excuses. But if we turn up, as you keep saying, Stuart, we can win.
Definitely. Anything else, Ollie? Any other questions?
All good.
Sweet. So, last time that we had you on, we did quick fire questions. So we're going to review that just to see if anything's changed or if you're happy to stick with the same ones. So the first one that I said was one player to look out for. You said Ali McCann. Has that changed slightly?
To be fair, no. Ali McCann's probably the one in midfield that you'll see, trying to break up play, trying to, stop obviously Radoni and Grimes from being able to play their game. So I'd suspect obviously Ali McCann to be right in the forefront of North End. But if I had to mention another one, it's obviously going to be Mastrokia as well. So it's one of them two to look out for. If you wanted to see a midfield battle, it'd probably be McCann. If you wanted to see even if we get there to the final third, a little bit of creative spark, it will be Mastrokia.
Okay, fair enough. So I asked you as well, where would Cov finish? Can you remember what you said?
Did I say something like 7th or 8th?
A little bit lower. You said 9th.
Oh, okay.
Has that changed, or are you happy with that? Are you sticking with that?
To be fair, you could possibly finish anywhere from 5th to 10th. So it's a ballpark figure. I'd probably have you a bit higher up than 9th. I'd have you probably pushing 7th, potentially even nabbing into that final playoff spot. But yeah, I think there's not going to be a lot in it between 6th and 14th, as we say. So you're going to be in that ballpark figure, but I suspect you'll be at the higher end.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you very much. I also asked, where would you finish? Can you remember what you said?
Oh, did I say? I'm probably going to say either between 14th and 16th.
Your first guess was spot on, 14th.
Yeah, that'll remain.
Do you not think that you'll get a couple of wins and sneak you back in there?
I've always said this season's a reset season. Season's done for how I see it as North End, which is crazy for me to say in February. We're still in the cup, obviously against the massive game. Not this Saturday, next Saturday. I think it's one of our biggest games for probably the last decade, because there's not an awful lot of fun at North End, but we've got that. It's a reset season. It's Heckinbottom's first season. He's wanting to come in and implement this player trading model. He said it quite a few times, and obviously this summer, Peter at Ridsdale's come out and said we need 10 players. So I think we're just chugging along, see how far we can get into the cup, ensure that our safety, wherever we lie, as long as it's not in the bottom three, which I suspect will not be the case because we're about 11 of 12 points clear at this point. It's just another throwaway season. But yeah, exciting things are happening because it seems like we've got a man who has a plan, which is nice to know.
Right, question for you. Obviously, we dealt with it last season. Would you take getting into the top 6, or would you want a cup run?
This season, a cup run, definitely. I continue on with my cup run. If we get as high as we can, get further along down the line, like obviously yourselves, get that much needed money for, probably a new pitch if you saw Deepdale yesterday, or some signings for Heckinbottom, then definitely cup run, because I feel like if we go into the playoffs, it'd be a bit of a show, because we'd be out first round no matter what, because I think the 3rd and 4th place anyway. Coventry would give them a good game, especially in the playoffs. But I feel like Sunderland and Burnley, who are currently relying in those spots, I feel like, especially over 2 games, I don't think we stand much chance, especially with our current squad.
Right, okay, fair enough. Nice and honest, that's what I like to hear. Obviously, you already mentioned one player that you would take from Coventry in Binks. Yep. Is there anybody else that you would take?
Well, you mentioned him actually. Obviously North End play with a 2 behind a nice number 9, and I think if we had someone like Mastrokia alongside someone like Jack Radoni, that would be quite a probably the best attacking duo in the league, bar obviously the top dogs. So yeah. If you're willing to part ways...
No, we're not. I can say that now.
But yeah, I'd absolutely take Binks, and I'd absolutely take. To be fair, I'd probably take a large majority of your squad if I was to have a go. But yeah, Binks and Redoni now to speak.
Okay, fair enough. And I asked for one word about Paul Heckinbottom. Can you remember what you said?
Oh, did I say refreshing?
You did say refreshing.
Yeah.
Good memory. I like it.
All right. Yeah.
Has that changed, or is that the same?
No, I think it remains. But obviously, the new manager bounce refreshing comes to mind. You'd probably say influential now. He's brought and instilled great feeling between the fans, and long may it continue.
Fantastic. Before we let you go, Ollie, can you just remind us where we can find you and what you do?
Yeah, so the Butterpie podcast on Spotify and all good reputable streaming sites, and on Twitter as well at the Butterpie Pod. Weird name as well, relating to a pie, but I promise you it's about Preston football.
We believe you. Thank you very much, Mark. Much appreciated once again. Thank you very much for joining. Ollie, been a pleasure. Good luck for the rest of the season, obviously apart from Saturday, where we play for the second time at the CBS. So, yeah, good luck for the rest of the season, and I hope you do well. Regarding that, just remember where you can find us, guys. It is scrolling down on that ticker below. We are available on X or Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. If you watch us on YouTube, please go and like and subscribe. And if you listen to us on podcast, please go and rate us 5 stars. We're sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications, and we're partnered with the Anecdote Sports Bar and the Sky Blue Tavern, and we're also associated with Coventry Ladies. So on that note, good luck. Thank you very much again, Ollie. Thank you very much, Mark, and play up Sky Blues.